As the video game industry has expanded and become swollen with a glut of titles, game developers have responded in kind and have become no stranger to having to resort to strange and extreme measures in order to get eyes on their projects. And the 8 titles that we're going to be looking at today, well, they weren't afraid to get a bit disturbing from time to time, even if it did seem to come from out of nowhere. So let's take a look at them. As I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 8 more disturbing video game twists that came out of nowhere. Number 8. Nuclear Options. Hotline Miami 2, Wrong Number. While the glorious Twitch reaction, action, and adrenaline rush approach to violence might sweep players up into thinking that Hotline Miami is about as deep as a puddle of blood when it comes to its narrative, you have to remember one thing. The Hotline Miami series wades deep into the red stuff as it spills buckets of blood. Therefore, there's a surprisingly deep and altogether depressing story hidden just underneath its searing visuals. Yet while the multiple character perspective might have included Russian mobsters, detectives looking for answers, and actors looking to enact their most violent desires by shooting people over and over again, these are not the arcs that provide the most shocking moments. As come the close of the game, just when you think you've got a handle on the narrative, the title suddenly lurches into a literal nuclear war. After both Russian and US representatives have been killed, nukes are launched which decimate entire continents. And instead of a glorious mission to stop the global annihilation, we are instead presented with the futility of all of our choices as we look over our selection of characters, watching them lament their final moments. It's utterly depressing and altogether distressing to know that your actions throughout the entire game have been meaningless, and all you've been doing is squabbling in the shadow of a much larger conflict. Number 7. Copy-paste problems. SOMA. Now, when it comes to ranking SOMA on the Disturb-O-meter, the game ranks so far on the scale that it's in risk of bending the little pointy arrow. Yet somehow, even amidst all of the horrible experiments and creepy locations, the game finds a brilliant way to cap things off that feels so utterly cruel that you could have never seen it coming. As the sole goal of this game is to not be in this hellhole, please, by the time SOMA draws to a close, we're pretty much begging to be able to make it to the surface in one piece. And after all the horrors that we've learned of down below, every second that we spend in the underwater research facility is agonizing. So imagine our collective surprise when we hit the old transfer conscience button and expected our spirit to be whisked away from here and placed into an idyllic and peaceful slumber on board the Ark as it escapes the ruins of what was once Earth, but instead find out that, hold on, that's not what this button does. It turns out that we've merely copied our memories and emotions into new avatars who will now wake up and live their lives carefree, leaving the originals alone deep below the Earth's waves, haunted by this depressingly bleak existence. And also, just to cap it off, now we're completely alone, seeing as our friend Sarah has just short-circuited. Rough. Number 6. The Earth is gone, pal. Prey 2017. While the updated take on Prey released in 2017 was a grand departure from both the plot and style of the original, one thing remained consistent throughout, and that was the liquid smooth gameplay and wonderfully engaging narrative centered around aliens and humans. In this scenario, you find yourself aboard a space station that has imprisoned a race known as the Typhoon, and are helping to conduct research on the species in order to extract resources and information which will benefit mankind. However, as you might well imagine, things soon go very wrong very quickly, and soon it's up to Morgan to rescue what crew he can while trying to survive against the obviously pissed off alien forces. However, while you might think this is another ho-hum tale of humanity triumphing over the unknown, the game sneaks in a shocking and thoroughly disturbing twist right at the end in a post-credits scene. You see, you're not actually Mason. You are in fact a Typhoon that has had Mason's memories implanted into it in the hopes of teaching it human empathy. Now, why would the team do this? Well, because the Earth has already been taken over by the Typhoon, and you've been implanted with these memories in order to understand what makes us human, with the hope being that you will speak with your people and call off the invasion, or better yet, coexist in peace. It's a rather shocking revelation to find out that you're not a human trapped on board the ship with the Typhoon, but actually the other way around. Yet the twist can be made all the more disturbing if you choose the kill them all options, because spoiler alert, it's not a pleasant time for anyone involved. Number 5. You've already lost. Vanquish. Now, Vanquish is one of those games that is so ludicrously fun to play that you may actually gloss over the fact that, at its core, it's a pretty bleak existence for our hero Sam Gideon and his pals come the close of the title. Now, while you might be whooping and hollering as you slide across the floor in your custom battlesuit and blasting holes in rascally Russian Robotniks with a countrywide smile, your quest to stop this coup of a space station is tinged with disturbing and almost horrific elements. After all, let's not forget this solar space farm has been turned into a death laser and that we've seen it used on the Earth already, so the stakes are pretty high. Adding to this is a mid-game betrayal by those you thought were on your side, and even worse, it turns out that the main villain Victor is actually in cahoots with the President of the United States, as the US wanted to use this in order to start a resource war with Russia. However, that's not even the disturbing twist of it all, for you see upon arriving at the final boss battle, you suddenly realise that Victor isn't even on the station anymore. He's on his way back to Russia, content that he's actually won the day, as now he can report to his higher-ups and launch a war in the US with the justification that they actually started it all. Even though the heroes celebrate a job well done, it's actually a job half finished, as the credits roll over what is actually a really downer ending. Number 4, I'm my own worst enemy, Darkseid 2. So let's get something clear right off the bat. Darkseid and its sequel Darkseid 2 are an extremely strange duology, comprising of body horror, H.R. Geiger-inspired monstrosities, and enough surreal moments that even Salvador Dali asked for the bloody chill pills. Now, as far as we can make out, and trust me, that is more difficult than it sounds, you play as a man recovering from a mental breakdown known as Mike Dawson, and although he looks about as threatening as a hug from your nan, he's actually already racked up one win against the evil and malicious ancients thanks to the events of the first game. However, poor old Mike is in a bit of a state when we find him in Darkseid 2, as it turns out that after returning to his hometown in order to recover his lost sanity, his girlfriend has been murdered and he's been pinned as the culprit. Thankfully, while the whole town is against him, Mike's best friend and discount Fonzie impersonator Jack believes him and helps try to clear his name. Or at least he does, until he, let me check my notes here, violently murders Mike before revealing himself to be the Darkseid version of Mike, before then riding off on his motorbike into the distance. I'm sorry, what just happened here? Darkseid happened, my friend, and it is as disturbing and weird as it sounds. Number 3, The Dollmaker, Alice Madness Returns. The Alice games have never been ones to shy away from dark and disturbing content, but when it came to Alice Madness Returns, things took a hard left turn real quick when it came to revealing the motivations of the mysterious Dollmaker. At this point in time, we pick things up a year after Alice has overcome her inner demons and escaped Wonderland, thus returning her to sanity. However, after experiencing some new hypnotherapy treatment, Wonderland's issues begin to rise once more, and soon Alice is torn between a drab and depressing reality and a chaotic and dangerous fantasy world that is now being plagued by a new evil known as the Dollmaker. So, you might figure, the game must be about destabilizing the Dollmaker and finding the link between it and some strange goings-on in the real world, right? Well, in that aspect, you're correct, but the nature of the eventual reveal is well and truly shocking. You see, it turns out that the Dollmaker is none other than Dr. Bumby, a high-ranking member of society who is using hypnotherapy to make children forget some of his crimes. And those crimes comprise of selling children into prostitution and burning down an orphanage after Alice's sister Lizzie spurned his sexual advances. It is a truly shocking moment that feels so needlessly cruel that it stands out as a huge talking point in the game. Now, we figured that the twist was about Bumby murdering Lizzie, but then to reveal the twist about child slavery and prostitution? Talk about a gut punch. Number 2, Hist Sap Massacre, The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. When you cast your eyes across the numerous guilds that are open to the player in the almighty Oblivion, you might immediately associate disturbing moments with the Assassins or Thieves Guild, as by their very nature they pit adventurers into rather unusual situations. However, it was the Fighters Guild that ended up taking the community by surprise thanks to the incredibly shocking mission known as Infiltration. Here, things start off simple enough, with the player being tasked to go and infiltrate a rival company that is stealing jobs away from the guild, and upon joining up, you're tasked with slaying some goblins that have begun a takeover of a nearby village. However, before you venture off, you're given a dose of Hist Sap by your new leader under the promise that it will help your skills in battle. So, off to the village we go, and after glugging the potion, we sure do make short work of those goblins. However, there's a slight twist here because it turns out that the Hist Sap you drank is actually a hallucinogen, which has actually meant that you've just slaughtered an entire town of innocent villagers. I think it's safe to say that nobody saw this coming and was quite the shock once the player player came to and saw the devastation that they'd just caused, especially if you were trying to play as a morally good character. Now, on the one hand, it does give you a surefire drive to take down this rival company once and for all, but still, talk about a bad trip. And number 1, demons, dragons, zombies, true crime, streets of LA. What the fuck? These may indeed be the words you utter when True Crime Streets of LA throws up a new objective for the player simply titled Shoot Woos Demons, and does so with a straight face, because it's right here, in this very moment, that True Crime pretty much lets go of the anchor of reality and shoots into the bloody stratosphere. Up until this point, the title had played things pretty straight-laced. I mean, sure, the violence was very over the top and the world was full of semi-self-aware characters who accentuated the B-movie cop drama to hammy levels, but none of the events thus far indicated that come the close of the game that we'd be fighting bloody demons. Hell, it's not just demons either, as in order to get to Woo's arena, you have to delve into some ancient mines beneath LA and kill what appear to be gun-toting zombies. And upon besting the Tesco brand beholders that are guarding Woo, he turns into a bloody dragon. Now, to be clear, this isn't out-and-out disturbing on a horror level, but it's truly jarring because it will make the player feel like they've been slipped some heavy sleeping meds in their lunch, because this, well, it makes no bloody sense. But you know what? Definitely here for it though, because it is very fun. And there we go, my friends. Those were 8 more disturbing video game twists that came out of nowhere. Hope you enjoyed that, and please let me know what you thought about it down in the comments section below. As always, I've been Jules. You can go follow me over on Twitter at RetroJ with a 0, or you can swing by Live and Let's Dice, where I do all of my streaming outside of work, and it'd be great to see you over there, my friends. But before I go, I just want to say one thing. Hope you're treating yourself well with love and respect, because you deserve all of the best things in life, alright? Sometimes life can throw a disturbing twist here and there, but as long as you remember that you are not alone, that you have the support of friends, family, and professionals in the support industry, then you will get through the other side and live a healthier and happier life. And at the end of the day, that is all I want for you. So big love to you, my friend. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.